Hi everyone. So to get started with our Decadent reflection, first up we're going to section off our mannequin here into 4 quadrants. And we're going to do a little differently than what you normally would when you're sectioning into 4 because we're going to take zigzag parting. So first we're going to go from from the front to the nape with a zigzag part, and then from ear to ear with a zigzag part. So usually you can do it as wide or as little or as full as you'd like. It doesn't have to be perfect. What this is going to do is just keep you from having any of those really straight, kind of harsh lines in the hair. Just going to pick up there where I left off. And I'm just going to clip this side and clip this other side before I do my other my ear to ear sections. So now you can kind of see that she's just kind of loosely zigzagged going back, and we're going to do the same ear to ear. Sorry, my mannequin stand's a little tight. And you want to make sure that zigzag comes just down behind the ear. So now we've taken that large section from the front to the nape and cut it into 2 sections. So now you've got your section from your ear forward and then your section from behind the ear. And we'll have that on both sides. Okay, so first up what we're going to do is we're going to go through with our foil placements. And with our foil placements, we're going to start doing a diagonal back on the front section. And I have the Simply Blonde Blue Powder Lightener. I have that mixed up with 20 volume, and I have 1 scoop of lightener to 3 scoops of developer. That's just my own personal preference on the consistency of my lightener. So if you like to do 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, it's up to you, just whatever's more comfortable for your foiling. And then we're going to go through, put our foils in, and then we're going to be our accent color, and then we're going to go back in and we're going to do root to ends with her base color that's going to go on everything that's not in the foils. So starting in this front section, I'm going to take 2-inch subsections still at a zigzag part, coming at a diagonal back. And then from this 2-inch parting, I'm going to do another zigzag slice. And this may look like a zigzag weave to you, or, it's really versatile. So it's really just a matter of preference. You can do zigzag slices, you can weave out a little more. It's just really however much color you think you want to pop, and however much you really want those accent pieces to really show. So still doing your diagonal sections, diagonally going back. We're going to start with our powder lightener, and I'm going to leave this about 2 inches out from the scalp on this first foil, and I'm just going to start to kind of feather my lightener on, just to kind of give us some movement, some flow with it. So I'm just going to start kind of feathering this up, leaving 2 inches at the top. And then I'm really going to make sure that I get my ends nice and saturated with the product. Now something too, when you're foiling, especially when you're leaving a little bit of gap at the top, you have to be very, very mindful of how you're folding your foils so that you don't take your foil that has product on the bottom of it and fold it right over to your root that you've left the color out of. So I'm actually gonna fold this in half once so that all that product is on the inside, and then my naked foil is actually gonna fold on to that hair that doesn't have any color on it. And then we're gonna continue up, another 2-inch parting, zigzag. And then I'm gonna come in through here and take another little subsection, zigzag subsection out. And then I'm gonna come back in. Now this one I'm gonna drop a little bit further away from the scalp. So I like to do maybe like 2 inches on my first, and then like 4 inches on my second, and then 2 inches on my third, so that you get a little bit more fluidity in your color and a little more diffusion. So it's really gonna be pops of color, but those pops are really gonna blend in with your anchor color. So that's really gonna give you a nice dimension and flow with your color. And I'm gonna do just like we did before, fold it in half, and then fold it once more, and then fold in my edges. Now, as you get closer to the top, your sections may be kind of wide. So it's okay for you to take this into 2 subsections and put that into 2 foils so that it's not all clumped together. So this being our third foil in this section, I'm going to go ahead and bring this back up to 2 inches so that we get a little more fluidity. And that's really gonna give you nice highs and lows. As you take your sections when we're all finished, you're gonna be able to really see how that really gives you nice dimension. You're seeing all of your colors, but it's really gonna blend together, especially after we put a really nice glaze on it at the end to kind of pull the look all together. So again, in her foils, I'm putting the Simply Blonde Blue Powder Lightener with 20 volume. And then for her base color, that everything that's not in the foils, what that's gonna receive is that's going to be, I'm gonna use our 5NW in the demi line, equal parts with the 9 volume as our base color. And then I'm gonna glaze her with the 8 NUA just to really give her that nice kind of ashy, smoky, fall, pretty color. And the great thing about what Kenra does with these collections is that you don't always have to go exactly how you would on the application card, because there's so much versatility to each of the looks that you really have the option to change it up how your clients need. So even though you may look at it right on and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'll have anybody that I'll be able to use this on, think about how you can adapt this to your clients that actually sit in your chair. Because some of the looks, as they are on the application card, aren't gonna be for everyone. But with Kenra, everything is so versatile that you have those options to really adjust it to how your clients need. So just keep that in mind. All right, and with this last foil in this section, I'm going to drop this down a little bit further, about 4 inches out, so that we get lots of our root shade or our base color, anchor color. Fold in half. All right, and then we're gonna switch over to our other front section and do this other side. So you can see now we've got our foils, they're all nice and placed. Good design. We're just gonna come around to this other side now and do this front section. So with this collection, with the Decadent Reflection, it's so nice to have a technique that is so versatile, because these pops that we're putting through here, you could do these, you know, as vibrant or as subtle as you'd like them to be. So, I mean, if you wanted something that had a little more flair to it, you could always pre-lighten, you know, and then go in and put a tone on with some of our creative line and give you some like nice bright pops of color. Or if you wanted something a little more subtle, like we're gonna do today, you could do the 5 NUA with the 8 NUA and keep it in the same family. But that's the beauty of the Kenra techniques. Not only do they use the 5 easy steps to formulation, which makes it so easy to use in the salon every day, but they really keep the clients in mind when creating these collections that, you know, not everyone is going to want to have, you know, super vibrant hair. So they make them so versatile so that everybody can use them. Everybody can adjust these to whatever client's needs they may need to adjust to. All right, so now we're gonna move to the back. And with our back, we're still gonna keep with our same diagonal back pattern. With the back, we're just gonna kind of brick layer the back. So as you see, when we come around, as we lay one on the opposite side, it's gonna kind of stagger that so that you get even reflection on both sides. So as we come back, you'll kind of see as it starts to kind of brick layer itself as we go. So I'm just gonna come right behind the ear, take my zigzag part at the top, zigzag over, take a little zigzag subsection, kind of still diagonaling back, and then I'm actually gonna come right in with my foil, and I'm gonna go 2 inches from the scalp. I might go actually just like an inch from the scalp so that we get a little more burst, especially if you're wearing your hair up, you're gonna wanna see some of those higher highlights. So I'm gonna just bring this up just a little higher. And I'm really gonna saturate my ends, and I'm gonna fold my foil up the same way we were in the front. And then I'm gonna clip this one up and go down to my next section. Now, if you had a client who wanted to have lots of dimension, obviously you could take smaller sectionings, you could do larger partings, you could do more of a weave than a slice if you wanted it to be really blended and soft. So you really have creative license when you're using this technique. So just make sure that you talk to your clients and you're communicating what their needs are and what their wants are with their hair color so that everybody's on the same page, because you could really customize this to be just about anything that you want or need it to be. So now as we look at the back here, you can see like we have a foil here, we have one that brick laid, then we have one here, and then we have one that brick laid on the other side. So when she lifts her hair up, you'll see all those highlights popping up through her crown as we lift it up. So now that we've got all of our foils in, we're gonna go through and everything that's not in a foil, I'm actually gonna just put one more right here. Everything that's not in a foil, we're going to apply our foundation color to. And I have the 5 NUA from our demi line already mixed up, and that's mixed equal parts with our 9 volume developer. And so she has a lot of warmth in this base color, and we want to kind of ash it out a little bit and add a little more depth. I want it to be really dark and kind of sultry. So I'm going to put that 5 NUA all over everything that's not in the foils. And it's important when you're applying your foundation color that you work really quickly so that your highlights and your foundation color can all process at the same time. So it's also important to be neat with your color application. So make sure you're taking the time to, make sure you're not getting color on their skin or on their ears, and you're not making a mess, but you want to try to work as quickly and as cleanly as possible so that everything can kind of process all at one time. And with my client here, she, doesn't have a lot, doesn't have any gray. She doesn't have any problem areas. We're really just tinting darker. So I chose to use the Demi line because we have no special needs when it comes to her hair color. So we're able to just use the Demi depositing only so that we do not have to over process or open up that cuticle for any reason. So All right, so now we've got our foundation color on everywhere outside of the foils. We're gonna let this process for about 25 minutes. I'm gonna keep an eye on her foils, keep checking them, make sure she doesn't over process or she doesn't lift up too high. And then once we get this completed, we're going to rinse this, shampoo, condition, and then we're going to put a glaze all over on her. We're gonna use the 8 NUA, also in the demi line, half and half, so 1 part color to 1 part developer. And I'm gonna put that, or 1 part to 2 parts of developer. I'm gonna put that all over, and I'm gonna let that sit for about 15 minutes, and then take some pictures, and she'll be good to go. So, as you can see, this was a super easy way to add some depth and dimension. This Decadent Reflection collection is really going to be easy for you to take back into the salons, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Thanks.